Chapter 2. A truck pulls away, and from its dust appears a slim skeletal boy with a grainy starter stash and loose jeans. He walks slowly in the early August light toward the store with the sign in the window that says military surplus, buy one, get one. At the door, he pulls a lanyard from his pocket and shoves its single key into the door's keyhole. Inside, he flicks the lights on, and the store's massive, gun-wielding taxidermy bear explodes into the center of his adjusting vision. Wow, what a deal, reads one sign from a box of camo cargos. Cheap, reads another. He's not been in another military surplus store, but he imagines that since he's seen this one, then he might as well have seen them all. Only 4 drywall barriers between him and a world that makes sense every Friday night, Saturday morning, and Sunday morning. He sleepwalks through shifts behind a big, creepy cash register. Cash only is printed in red on the wall behind it. Sawdust, for some reason, is everywhere. Camo pants, camo hats, camo shirts, normal shirts in standard army green. Large metal objects that vaguely resemble weapons but aren't. Eagle-clad Zippos that sell like hotcakes. Boots, so many kinds of boots. Boots made for sand, boots that keep feet dry, boots for climbing, combat boots, snow boots, thermal socks to be worn under boots. Storage containers for ammo. Tents, pouches, bags, knives, dummy grenades, practice rounds, and a big miscellaneous bucket containing products discounted due to rust. From the ceiling hangs flags of every military force in U.S. history, all of them discounted for purchase and selling well. Haggling, though not encouraged, is welcome. The owner, Curtis, demands that Eddie make any sale that can be made. Eddie begins to recount patches and gets to 26 before Curtis comes busting through the door. Ed, he says, you're fired. Sorry about this, but I just don't see any good coming of the future, okay? Am I actually? Asked Eddie. He feels in the moment like he is being told one of those jokes that old men tend to tell, that only they can find funny and only they know the meaning of. Curtis walks past him into the back room where he moves something heavy. Eddie hears him loading and cocking one shotgun, then another. Yeah, Ed, he shouts. You actually are, and I gotta be honest, it isn't even a political thing. He walks into the restroom and closes the door, returning only after a long growling session spent straddling the toilet with his hands on the wall. When he finally returns, he continues. It's just that I think the possibility of things going nuclear like, I don't know, tomorrow are pretty high. Castro of everyone, Castro was the one to step up and say it. That man will be responsible, Ed, and don't let history tell you anything different than that. Eddie stares back at him with a complete lack of understanding. Curtis opens the cash register and takes all the money out of it. He then takes a knife to the back of Eddie's chair and pulls out a large stack of dollar bills. His nicotine-stained fingers file through the stack before pulling out a grasp full of hundreds and tucking it into Eddie's pocket. But look, he says, patting him on the chest, you will always be able to find work around here because people around here are rich. Rich people like to make people do things for them. He slaps him on the chest, hard enough to suggest that Eddie should now make his exit. Well, thank you for the... no need, says Curtis, nodding toward the door. Before he understands what has transpired, he is back in the moist morning with nowhere to go and no ride to get there. Behind him, the lights flick off in the store, the door locks, the dark blinds that he never knew existed slam down and shutter the place completely. Broken bits of foliage float along the asphalt as small minerals shine in the puddles of the early Georgia sun. Finally, his interior says, move, and he thinks for the first time about the situation. He does a quick count of the money and imagines how nicely he can live for a while. Before long, he hears the screeching of tires and sees Curtis, a small yellow truck, dart out from behind the strip mall and across the median before skirting away down Main Street Latreo. Then it occurs to Eddie that the entire situation went down peculiarly. His consciousness completes its conversion from sleep into lucidity, and he remembers the cocking of shotguns, the abrupt retraction of employment, and the sound of large furniture being moved. Almost at the same time, he begins to smell something burning behind him. He can see soft crimson wisps moving behind the drawn curtains, and only after another moment of consideration does he notice that the building is burning. Christ, he says silently to himself, and starts to run in the opposite direction. So that is chapter 2 of my 2024 book, Each One a Nation. Chapter 1 is also available on this page.